Building off of the last video in which I showed you how I analyzed 5 years of OSHA log data along with work hours in order to generate a set of priorities to go to management in order to ask for investment. So this is the writing assignment, which is you're going to write an executive summary based on the analysis I completed and the technical report I wrote. So you're just taking a technical report, breaking it down, going through a planning document or planning process, determine what you want to present to management in order to support your recommendations. In the memo assignment, you had a pre and post for a safety strategy or project that management did, and you were explaining to them how it worked, and then what needs to be done next. Now what you're doing is you're taking the sort of the pre, and it's now wide open as far as what you're going to recommend for a solution, and I want to see where you go with it based on things we've talked about in class. So let's get to this. So the scenario that's being presented to you, and this is also in the assignment, is that you've been asked by your employer to assess the performance of the safety program and make recommendations for improvements. That's very simple. Your objective is to conduct a comprehensive analysis of 5 years of data, determine the effectiveness of the company safety program, their record-keeping practices, and prioritize areas for improvement. So I did that for you already. This has been done for you. You now need to present it. So develop an executive summary based off of the technical report that educates top management on OSHA record-keeping and associated statistics. Background and justification for analyzing the OSHA 3 log data. And clearly present the results of your data analysis along with the proper interpretation of results in order to gain management support and trust so that they will invest resources into the safety program. Rest assured, you can use those resources to make actual measurable improvements to the safety program. So data-driven decisions. Whatever gets implemented, you'll be able to track over time and present to them to show them how it's working or what more needs to be done. So it's more of an assured investment. That's why I like to call it a business investment. The results of the data analysis, which I went over in the last video and provided to you, sorted by year to do all these things, but this is all in the technical report. I kind of already went over it. The planning document, you can use the same document we used for the memo, or you can actually, do your own. Basically, I want you to show your work. Just as we were doing some problem solving, and I'd want you to show your work on how you got to an answer, I want you to demonstrate to me how you evaluated the technical report and determine what was most important, and then how you came about the recommendations to management and what you'd like them to do. And so your recommendations are based on what the results are, and not just, I want to do something and then trying to find results that fit your narrative. I want you to, based on the results, find evidence, support, the literature we had read, concepts, in order to educate them. So you're going to make a planning document where you're going to put together the elements of the introduction, which is basically the breakdown of the report. You really don't have to talk about methods much, other than I provided some samples of some previous work, and that might help give you an idea. One line maybe, not too much though. Get into the results. So there'll be either a table or a figure you're going to be using. Make sure you also bring over the table or figure number and its title. It's very important. All you have to do is copy and paste from a PDF document into Word. Very easy to do. The biggest part is your conclusions and recommendations. That's up to you. That's what I'm interested in, what you generate. So if this was completely yours, and I used to have students actually analyze the data, write the technical report, and write the executive summary. You're just doing the executive summary. It's written last. Once you've done all the analysis, once you've written up the entire report, that's when you now really, what do you want to synthesize it, distill it into the essence? What do you want management to know? Because they don't want to look through a bunch of data analysis. They don't want to look through an entire technical report. This is your opportunity in just 2 pages or less to get them to invest in the safety program. It's sort of like a written elevator speech. And then the references should be cited in the literature too. I didn't add that to the technical report because I wanted to see where you would take it based on whatever recommendation you want to make. Though in the report, some basic recommendations are made. You can actually summarize those and then build from them. So the planning of it, Think about the audience, think about what sort of narrative or message you want to bring them. You can use a storyboard, you can use PowerPoint, whatever you need, but make sure you have the details in it. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what I learned from the memo assignment grading and give you some tips in that. But for right now, I'm going to still talk about the same thing I talked about for that. The expectations is that it's going to be a very clear paper, and that's part of the writing attentive requirements for this course. I'm going to give you some examples of what I don't want you to do. So no first-person prose, no slang, no passive language. Make sure all the tables and figures are numbered and titled, and they are in the report for you already. Fully and clearly explain the objectives. That's really important. What's this all about? And then make sure you make recommendations with citing references, posted readings, not PowerPoint slides. Something you read, something somebody showed. Don't turn in your first draft. Make sure you read it aloud several times before you submit it. Make sure it's one single PDF document. And ask friends and family to help you out. So here's an example of a passive entry. As seen in the graph, the company DART rate number values are much greater than its BLS peers in the same industry. This means the workers of this company are experiencing more injuries that cause days away or restricted transfers than workers of other similar companies in the same industry. Versus, a better example is, Figure 2 demonstrates a steady increase in company DART IR from 2011 to 2015. The company DART IR, which is the days away restricted transfer incidence rate, is 1 to 5 times greater than industry peers. These results support the need to study and improve the safety program. So it's saying the same thing, but the bottom one's much clearer than the top one. Here's another passive. Then this is actual quotations from previous submissions. Looking into the processes that warehouse workers endure, exchanging their work system, the company could eliminate 13% of overall injuries. Versus, the warehouse workers incurred 13% of the total recordable cases. This position should be studied to identify and assess the root causes of those injuries. Future injury occurrences could be reduced if the true root causes are mitigated. So the top one took a little bit too much liberty in assumption. So this was an actual submission. This is first person jargon. Somebody actually submitted this. Above, I briefly talked about how I get the data above. Now let's look at the data. When looking at the data from 2011 to 2015, we can see that the company's no lost time injuries went down and lost time injuries went up, which is not a good trend to see. The graph in figure 1 shows lost time compared to no lost time was fairly good. Then, as the years went on, the company's no lost time injuries went down. Very poor. Oh, just jargon and all this C and first person stuff. This horrible. And to read it out loud is painful. So here's an abstract. We used to have students write abstract. Now we do executive summaries. This was not a good submission. Being able to look beyond just the data on the OSHA 300 logs is very important. If the data isn't interpreted or used correctly, then all the OSHA 300 logs are just words, check marks, and numbers. Those words, check marks, and numbers are there to help show where our company has possibly not paid enough attention to, and also tells us what we need to do moving forward. There are two main reasons on why it is important to do this type of analysis with our company's OSHA 300 log. They're using misspellings and bad conjugations and stuff like that. The first reason is to be able to see how our company's numbers are compared to other companies who are within the same industry. This is important because it will tell us if we are above or below the national average for our industry. The second piece of information it will tell us is where we need to make improvements in order to help protect our workers. Bad conjugation. It's so hard to read. And here's the thing too, you submit something like this to management, they're not even going to keep reading. They're going to throw it back and say, learn to write. So here's a better example. 5 years of injury data were analyzed to assess the performance of the safety program and identify priorities for improvements. That's basically right from the assignment, right? A total of 108 OSHA recordable cases incurred 498 days away from work and 1,068 days of restricted or transfer status. An annual total case and days away restricted transfer incidence rates, that didn't sound right, that severe injury cases are increasing. Indicate, I forgot that word. That severe indicators. And the company's safety program is not performing as well as its industry peers. The top 3 job titles represented 48.2% of all recordable cases and 60.6% of total days lost. The 3 priorities for combined job cause represented 38% of recordable cases and 46.3% of total days lost. To reverse current trends, management needs to invest in root cause studies of the warehouse worker and labor overexertion work factors and electrician exposure to live electrical sources. The proposed work studies will engage workers and assess issues beyond work design. If the true causal factors can be realized and mitigated, the company could save an estimated $18,500 per year in lost wages alone. So there are still some grammatical issues here, and maybe some of the sentences are a bit run-on or passive, but overall, I see numbers here. I see actual proposals of what's going to be done and actual numbers. And I like that a lot more, though, again, grammar. So, final slide. I already passed 10 minutes. So this is what is expected. This is the assignment. And this is from the Kansas site. So here is the assignment itself. So open it, read it. There are rubrics there so you know what will be graded. 2, here is the PDF of the technical report that you're going to break down and review in your planning document. I provided 3 examples. Here's a planning document example. Here's an actual, I think, executive summary sample. Then here's a submission sample so you can see what is possible. So these are all meant to be, to motivate you, to inspire you, not for you to copy. I don't want to see the same language. I don't want to see the exact same thing submitted. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm providing you with examples that you can refer to as you develop. So you kind of know what yours is supposed to look like. You can kind of maybe learn from the way it's written if you like certain parts, but you're going to submit something different. Don't submit what's here. And for the next project, I'm not going to give you any of this stuff. So this is what you get. Don't copy it. Use it as a reference point. I will be evaluating the submissions to see if you're using the same language or if it's the exact same structure with just some different words. I want you to write your own. This is meant to help you, not to be a crutch. I hope I've made that clear. Then this is where you're going to upload your final single document PDF with the cover executive summary planning document. Where's my brain? And then I provided 2 links to help you out. They provide additional insight on how to write. I usually just provide these, but now I'm providing this as well. Again, I don't want you to just copy and paste. I don't want you just to change a few words. I want it to be your work, not a regurgitation of the work that I've provided to you. It's academic dishonesty, by the way. So review the requirements, get to working on summarizing the technical report, putting together your planning document. Look at the examples and tips to help inform you as you're working on your planning document, and then write the executive summary. This will all be done in a Word document, hopefully, so then you can slap it all together and save it as a PDF and upload it here, due by the 17th, according to this. And then all of this is practice for the next project. In the next project, you'll do all the analysis. You'll write the full technical report, and you'll write the executive summary. I'm not going to provide you samples and examples for that because you're doing it all here. But all you have to do here is write the executive summary. So really put in the time now. Don't skip over this or take it lightly, because this is preparation for the big semester project, which is a big part of your grade.